Well, that was very interesting, wasn't it? Because, Angela Levin, who clearly has got to know Prince Harry well, followed him for a very, very long time. And when she said, "I am very worried for his future,"
Why? Why?
I think that was a very telling comment. And when I made the comment to her, well, wasn't the army, wasn't the military his second family? She said, yes, that's how he referred to it. Now, last week, very, very interesting. We spoke to James Glancy, former Royal Marine officer.
Wow.
And James was really, really worried that Harry, as Captain General of the Royal Marines and with the title His Royal Highness, would be out making money on the west coast of the USA and Canada.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And that may well privatise the monarchy. And I'm joined by James Glancy now. James, good morning. Hello, James.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, James, hi. Well, last week you basically said he can't have his cake and eat it. The Queen has intervened and he will no longer be your Captain General of the Royal Marines. How do you feel about that?
Let me put it in a language you can understand.
This is a really bold and honourable decision, and I don't think it would just be the Queen that made it. I'm sure Harry has come to that conclusion. It would have been very difficult to do this 50-50, as I said last week.
Okay.
They've been under a huge amount of pressure. If you just look at the articles being churned out in the media, all of it negative. In my opinion, it's no wonder they want to escape. But he's been a tremendous public servant, and it's going to be a huge loss to the armed forces and to this country. What I'm glad to see is that he's continuing to do his really good work with the Invictus Games. He's been doing so much for veterans, especially mental health, and of course, amazing conservation charities.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
But I think ultimately they've come to the right decision. It's an honourable decision to not commercialise the monarchy, to go and start a life with his family, and he's prioritising that. And I think it's an admirable decision.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the right decision. It had to be one or the other, and clearly this decision is now decisive, and we know where we're going. What worries me, James, for him, and I was just talking to Angela Levin, who did a biography of Harry and got to know him, is that he regarded the army, the military, as being his second family after his service. He'd been out in Afghanistan, etc.
Yes, exactly.
And he had these positions like being Captain General of the Royal Marines. And you're an ex-serviceman. I know you're still very heavily involved with the Marines. This will be a huge wrench for him, won't it?
Well, I'm not hugely involved, but I am involved in some veterans charities.
Yeah.
Look, when I left, I found it really difficult, mentally and emotionally, because it is a family, it's a team, and you don't realise what you've got until you left.
Fact.
And I think Harry struggled. A lot of us struggle. And even now, I find myself, really missing the camaraderie and the sense of purpose. And I think that's going to be very difficult. But what I'm pleased, as I said before, is that he is going to continue with Invictus. He's going to continue with mental health charities, helping veterans. And that will give him a sense of purpose. The uniform stuff, as I said before, that does require a member of the royal family to take that over, who's only a serving member of the monarchy, not half in, half out. But ultimately, I think this is going to be a difficult transition.
No, absolutely. James, thank you very much indeed. Well, wasn't that interesting? That was James Glancy, former Royal Marine and member of the European Parliament for another couple of weeks. And James, who was very, very critical last week of the statement put out by the Sussexes, where they appear to want to have their cake and eat it, now says, and I quote, that it was an honourable decision. And so I think the conversation's moved on. Last week, the conversation was, Harry, you've let the side down, or, as long as he's happy, let him go off and do what he wants to do.
Well, duh.
I think everyone now is pleased that we've got clarity, but there are concerns for the future of the royal family, and concerns about Harry as an individual and this huge wrench he's making from his family, his military connections, his country, and in particular, his brother.
You got me.
Lee is calling from Manchester. Lee, what do you make of it all this morning?
Good morning, Nigel. Nice to speak to you again.
Good to speak to you. Welcome back. So. Who are the winners? Who are the losers, Lee?
I don't know.
Well, it seems to me, Nigel, like from Meghan's point of view, there's two ways to look at it. Like their background, for example, Meghan comes from a completely different background to Harry.
Sure. And
they found their way together. They both clearly have, what was sort of from both families' sides, different expectations. The Queen and his father and everybody else, they'd have had certain expectations of what he was going to do in the future, and the exact same with Meghan's family. There's been big rifts.
Really, nigga?
But I can speak from my own experience here. I'm not going to shout any information out, Nigel, so please don't get the wrong impression. But I'm a little bit, me personally, in the public eye. I've got 90,000 followers. I'm not going to say anything about what it is. Don't worry, I won't be unprofessional and take advantage of this call like that. So I'll just say that now.
Gay!
However, Nigel, I've been in a similar position where everyone's judging everything about me. And do you know something? When you put yourself into the public sector like that, that is one of the things that happens. But the proposal here is that they're going to give up royal duties and come out of that public life and go into public life elsewhere. What do they think's going to happen?
Good question.
Well, it isn't going to be very different, is it?
No, it's going to be worse. There'd be even more. It'd be even more people. There's 60-something million people in Britain, Nigel, and there's about 1 billion in America and Canada. But it's not.
I mean, Lee, I've been in public life for quite a long time.
Okay.
Well, I've only got 90,000, and I know how hard I've been hit, so I couldn't imagine what it's like when you've got millions. But
you just
seriously,
Nigel, but you just have to. I think. If you're in a prominent public position, whether it's in sport, media, politics, no matter what, royalty, whatever it is, I think you have to take what's written. You have to take what's written about you with a pinch of salt. And have they taken it all too much to heart, perhaps?
God, please, no! No! No!
Yep, absolutely. I believe so, because the fact of the matter is, the way that they got together, for a start, pretty much said it all, and I'm not here to shout badly about Meghan, but she didn't make herself look very good when she just sort of dropped everything and everybody, mailed a couple of wedding rings back to her ex-husband, and then just went and got into a life with Harry like that. It just seemed a little bit ruthless, so she's made herself look a little bit, suspect there. I'm not judging her personally, but I can sort of see why some people are thinking, that seems a little bit ruthless, what's it going to be like later once everything's set in stone and she's got what she wanted? Will Harry be then on the back burner? That's the problem. And then when you think of the little bit of advice that William gave Harry, just, I'm not saying don't get married, but just know that you're sure, etc. And then he seemed to do it, literally.
What do you mean by that?
Within 2 years, whereas, William and Kate waited 8 years. And they've had issues after 8 years and trying to be sure about it, so of course they're going to have issues. But that's their marriage,
And that's life. And that's life. Isn't that the same for everybody, though, Lee?
They're going from a public life into a bigger public life. I don't get their angle unless they want extra attention.
Come on now, dog.
Lee, no, you make the point well. They will not be escaping media scrutiny. They absolutely won't. Paul says to me, Prince William is not on his own. He's got huge resources. The key is using and managing them properly. Charities and military divisions run happily without princes and Ros. Paul, okay, fine, but I think the weight of responsibility on William's shoulders regardless becomes absolutely huge. There's nobody of his age group in the royal family, anywhere near his age group in the royal family, to share this with.
Fact. Prince Harry apparently wants to return to the UK.
Is he all right upstairs?
I bet he does. The cynic in me thinks perhaps this is about selling even more books. The paperback of his memoir, Spare, comes out in a few weeks. He's apparently agreed not to update it, but they must be strapped for cash after a string of financial disasters. His American dream is well and truly over, and frankly, I'm not surprised. The Netflix deal appears to be crumbling. An America Riviera Orchard, Meghan's brand has hit, shall we call it, technical problems. Did he really think that turning his back on the country that gave him his privilege and dissing his family, the royal family, would work in his favour? What planet is he on? Prince Harry has become a global embarrassment. While Spare may well have been one of the fastest-selling biographies ever, it came at a cost. In my eyes, he lost the very last shreds of credibility and dignity which had been hanging on via weak, thin straws after a series of missteps, starting with that interview with Oprah, where someone in the royal family had the allegation of racism thrust upon them.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
An allegation both he and Meghan did not correct until a few years later, after the late Queen had died, thereby gaslighting the world and causing untold emotional damage to the mental health of his family. He's supposed to be an advocate for that, for goodness sake.
Boy.
Unconscious bias, he called it, and blamed the British press for the misrepresentation. Everything he does appears to be either for money or publicity. America are sick of him. They're laughing.
What the hell?
Lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where? Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
I don't like where this is going.
I never get tired of that. It's hilarious. The other month, Harry collected the Pat Tillman Award against the wishes of Pat's mother. Her brave son was killed by friendly fire after giving up his lucrative sporting career to defend his country. And the other month, Harry was given the award for his work with Invictus. He claimed he was collecting the award for the brave veterans.
I'd like to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to everyone at the Pat Tillman Foundation, led by Marie Tillman-Shenton, who I'm so honoured is here tonight.
Okay.
I'd also like to acknowledge the Tillman family, especially Mrs. Mary Tillman, Pat's mother. Her advocacy for Pat's legacy is deeply personal and one that I respect.
Are you sure about that?
The bond between a mother and son is eternal and transcends even the greatest losses.
Yeah, he's now apparently coming grovelling back cap in hand. I wonder why. It's been termed Operation Bring Harry In From the Cold. And according to the Daily Mail, he's reached out to his old mates to help facilitate. It's not clear whether Meghan will be with him if his mission succeeds, but I suspect William will have a few words to say about that one.
Come on now, dawg.
If the Sussexes want to return, Harry needs to make a massive apology. Bring his kids to meet his father, and the same goes for Meghan. And I can't see that happening, though, can you?
What do you mean by that?
Some might say that he wants to genuinely build bridges and seek forgiveness after the hell that he and his wife have unleashed on their families. He's seen the error in his ways, but I believe that when I see it. No, I think this is a ploy to ensure the sales of his Spare paperback, which is out in a matter of weeks, in the hope that people will talk about him and make him relevant again.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
In my view, that ship has sailed. The worldwide privacy tour is over. The question is, would you welcome him home?
I don't know.
But first, let's talk Operation Bring Harry In From the Cold, as apparently, as it's underway, that's what the Daily Mail are reporting. Prince Harry seeking advice from former aides on how he should return to the country.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
After spending the past 4 years in a self-imposed exile in California, allegedly growing dissatisfied with advice from American-based image experts, of which I think they've had about 10. Well, joining me now is royal broadcaster Helena Shard. Helena, welcome to the programme. So Prince Harry...
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So Prince Harry, apparently, Operation Bring Harry In From the Cold. Do you feel there's any truth to this?
You know, I'm trying to find out who the trusted former aides are and who's been talking to who. I haven't got there yet, but lots of tongues are wagging, Nana. I mean, you know, we heard that he was at the memorial for Lord Robert Fellows, and obviously William was there as well. And so there was lots of, you know, everyone going into overdrive. That was in Stattisham, Norfolk the other day. He wasn't going to attend, said the People, mouthpiece of his. And obviously, it hadn't have been proven by so many different people, including family, friends, I would have actually thought that maybe a lookalike had turned up. You know, and I absolutely, you know, it still does make me wonder. It was obviously a discreet entrance, etc. But now we have been led to believe that Harry's been talking to people from those friends from his old life. And it's not that he wants to make a permanent move to the UK. So I believe, from what I can see, you know, from what I've heard, it's more about his reputation. You know, as we know, we've heard that somebody who is absolutely fantastic left his team at the end of last year, and that was all to do with reputation management. And as we know, he needs help.
Yeah, right.
They need help.
well, he wants to have his cake and eat it, by the sounds of it. I mean, obviously, no good cake it remains uneaten, but he clearly wants to have the luxury of being royal, but I don't think he wants to do the work.
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
Absolutely. I mean, goodness me, he needs help. We know that the royal family is his currency. I mean, even his late mother, you know, obviously he's almost usurped her memory, and he needs this. He needs this to make money, and things are not going his way. Things are not necessarily going their way. Is this about initiating a return to the royal family? Who knows? We'll wait and see. Does he want to spend more time in the UK? We've been led to believe he doesn't want to, yet he does.
That doesn't make sense.
And we have the court case that's going ahead. And of course, he raced in to Lord Robert Fellowes' memorial service. So there's lots of ambiguous behaviour. And he is going to be, you know, in New York. We call it the silly season, don't we? And we're also looking that there's lots of different stories that are coming out. But he needs to sell stuff. He's going to be in New York.
Yeah.
And it's
you could do so you want
we've got to remember the enormous amount of hurt and offence. I mean, Prince William absolutely reeling, poor Princess Catherine, you know, Spare book coming out at the most awful time, and you've got the Netflix
shut up bro.
Serious.
I mean, it's absolutely. This is a rehabilitation strategy.
Well, there's still. I mean, look, he's still. You know, I mean, they're still doing these faux royal tours as well, which is just unspeakable. Helena Shard, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you. That's Helena Shard.